Today I'm going to change the transmission oil on my 91 Civic hatchback. What you're going to need, you're going to need some sort of motor oil. You need a 10W30. You'll need some sort of ratchet. It needs to be a 3/8 inch drive. That way you can get, this is for the drain plug. You're going to need a 17-inch wrench. This is for the fill plug. You may need a hammer also. Sometimes I use that with the wrench to get off the fill plug on the transmission. Now I'm using this pretty inexpensive, it's a Mobil Super 10W30 engine oil. All of these 88 to 91 Civics, CRXs, they called for motor oil in the service manual. I believe the Honda manual transmission fluid was developed in 93 or 94, so it wasn't even called for in our cars. I had put the Honda MTF in my transmission on my B16 when I put this in the car about 3.5 years ago, and recently the clutch and just the transmission feel, it's a little more, it's not as smooth as it used to be. It is difficult getting in and out of gear sometimes. And that might actually be attributed to the clutch I used. I used an XTD clutch, which is the same one that I replaced off of Gabe's Integra. I made a video of it, and his clutch blew up after like 3,000 miles. Now I've probably driven my hatchback maybe 3,000 to 4,000 miles as well, but I really haven't abused it. Punch it every now and then, but nothing too ridiculous, and I don't drive the car frequently, so my clutch may be going bad. But I decided I'm gonna go ahead and try changing the transmission fluid first, see if that feels a little better, and if not, I'll just leave it like that until I one day get around to changing out the clutch again. Once you have the car properly supported on the passenger side of the vehicle, once you get under the transmission, you're going to see this right here. This is the drain plug. Now above that, where the 17 goes, this is the fill plug. An important tip whenever you're changing transmission fluid, always get the fill plug removed first, because if you end up draining all your oil and you cannot get your fill plug removed, it's a lot more difficult to get in there and just easily fill the transmission. You'll either need to go up to the top and remove the speedometer assembly and then drop the oil in through there, or you could pull a CV shaft and input it there. But I always get this one loosened first. Once that's broken free, then I go ahead and drain the transmission fluid. There we go. I got mine off relatively easily. It's actually fluid coming out there, and it looks crystal clear still, so the fluid is still, it only has like 3,000 miles on it, so I didn't expect it to be dirty though. Maybe you can see how clean it looks. That's it. That's how you drain the transmission fluid. I'm gonna let it drain for a while here. Once it's come to like a small drip, I'll wipe everything down and I'll show you how I reinstall the fluid, the new fluid. This is the funnel I use to refill the transmission. It has the long hose. It's very easy. I just install it here. Feed it down, I let it sit right there. Then I feed the tube into the transmission fill hole. Just like that. Perfect. Now I'm gonna go ahead and let this just continue dripping for another 5 minutes. And after that, we'll get the plug tightened back up and add the fluid. And that's it, finishing the transmission fluid. Now whenever you do take the drain plug off, I always replace the crush washer. I have a pack, like 100 of these little crush washers for the oil pans and the transmission. So I always replace it. I feel like it's smart to just get it changed while you're there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a new crush washer on there. When adding your oil, the transmission holds right around 2 quarts of oil. So it'll take a little while to get it filled, especially if it's slow filling like my funnel. But you'll see it start to run out of the top a little bit. I always check the level on the side of the oil jug. I try to put, I believe it's 2.1 quarts or 2.2. But right around 2 is usually going to fill it up. It all depends on what you have remaining inside the transmission also. So it'll vary just slightly, but generally around 2 quarts of oil to fill it up.